What is going on, FA Nation? John and Peppa here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS Playbook live show. It is Tuesday. We had an 11-game main slate. We are down a game now. Cleveland, Minnesota, rained out. No game there. Gavin Williams off the slate. Big sad. Strikeout pitcher maybe we're looking at. Possibly. Potentially. Maybe. No longer to be. We got some other weather slightly that we're looking at, I believe, as well, aren't we, James? There's like one more game potentially with some impact on you. You did the playbook. That's live over at Fantasy Alarm, so you got a better overview of today here so far.
Yeah, Seattle, Chicago. Looks like there's going to be rain near first pitch, and that's potentially going to cause a delay. But we should be good. That game shouldn't be overly concerning. We do have weather again, and by weather I mean warm weather in spots. Tampa Bay, it's really hot. It's going to be 85 degrees at first pitch, and it's really hot in Sacramento again. It's going to be 80 to 84 at first pitch, and then like 88, 80s, 70s rest of the night. So yeah, it's a fun slate. I much prefer, honestly, it to be 10 because I did not want to have to deal with that weather in the Cleveland game, because we saw last night how much of a nightmare it was, right? Start, stop, actually just stop and suspend and do it again tomorrow. Just for them to not play. So
just for them to not play tomorrow. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So, I like the slate. Not a lot of weather concerns, really good pitching, whether Gavin Williams exists.
Are you surprised where the ownership went today for pitching?
Yes and no. Yes, in some instances, no in others. And we'll get into that as we do our positional breakdown, like we do always.
Will do. Grande, this was your first MLB DFS playbook of the season.
Ever.
Of the season, not ever. Of the season. You were dealing with the NBA, but we got you doing the MLB playbook here. So talk to me about pitching. Tarek Skubal is your top price starter. Yamamoto's 10-5. We have Logan Henderson at $9,500, which we kind of thought was an interesting price tag for him. And then we have Jesus Luzardo and Chris Bassett rounding out the $9,000 tier. When we did the show this morning, I thought Luzardo was just going to be the highest rostered pitcher because it is Colorado, and why not, right? It's a great matchup, a high strikeout play. But as of right now, he's checking in a tick under 20%. Does that make him more appealing to you, or are you worried about Coors here?
It definitely makes it appealing. He was more popular earlier in the day, and Dylan Cease wasn't, and that's kind of flipped, and that annoys me because I was excited to play alone Dylan Cease earlier in the day, and gain leverage off of Luzardo, but now those two have flopped, and it's not like this big, you're not getting like massive leverage off of those two pitchers specifically, but I've basically since last night put those two pitchers in like the same bucket where they're underpriced in the matchups they're in, and they're like the next guys after Tarek Skubal that I'd want to play, right? Yeah. So that's why I don't think like some of the ownership, like people will always find ways to get Tarek Skubal in their lineup, right? Because he is just the best. He's the best pitcher in baseball. He strikes out more batters than anyone else. Even in matchups that don't call for strikeouts, he strikes them out. Amongst all qualified pitchers, kind of shocking to even say this out loud, only Mackenzie Gore has a higher strikeout rate than him this year. 217 average, 225 Sierra, 220. I mean, he's just the best pitcher in baseball, right? So that ownership doesn't surprise me. The Luzardo ownership does. Now, there are some like good righty stuff for Colorado to dig in. Like, I actually don't think, like, I think it's possible to see righties have some success in this spot against Luzardo. You know, we've talked about it for a couple nights now. Like Beck, Tovar, Goodman, Doyle still hitting. I mean, Doyle has been good against lefties. Like, those are at least formidable righties in a lineup, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying Luzardo is bad. I think he looks great, but you know, I get it a little bit why his ownership would be a little suppressed. But yeah, there's definitely, I think, some pretty good leverage getting to 9,300. And also, like, versus if we're like even comparing him versus Christopher Sanchez, it's not, because Christopher Sanchez is $1,000 cheaper than Luzardo.
Yeah.
It was much easier to get to Sanchez yesterday than it is Luzardo.
You mentioned the ownership flip with Dylan Cease. Cease was another guy that we had targeted. I actually am using Dylan Cease in my FanDuel lineup tonight just because, a little bit cheaper than the other guys here. Another elite strikeout pitcher. The only thing is Blue Jays don't strike out, but they don't have good numbers at all against right-handed pitching. So you take a high strikeout pitcher, maybe that team's strikeout rate bumps up a little bit more, and you get Cease coming out of here 6, 7, 8 strikeouts, with minimal damage against.
Yeah, and that's like the thing with all these guys that can miss bats, right? Whether or not it's like a bad spot for strikeouts, like, they have some of the best swinging stuff in baseball. Like, Dylan Cease is 10th in all of baseball with a 28.6% strikeout rate. And we've talked about this a bunch. His surface stuff is not even close to anything on the back end.
No.
331 BABIP is just bad luck. 342 Sierra, 351 xFIP. He's been dominant since he started to have better control in the last 2 starts. And we've talked about the Blue Jays. They're 22nd or worse in OPS, ISO, WOBA, WRC+. Like, they are a bad offense against right-handed pitching. So I understand why the ownership has skyrocketed the way it has, because it's a good pitcher that in a month's time will be 9,800, and like, we just won't have the opportunity to play him at this price point anymore.
Yeah, if you were fortunate just to get him as like a throw-in in a trade in fantasy baseball, you're probably pretty happy about that.
Yeah, could be worse, I think.
Could be worse, yeah. All right, what about the mid-range? Because Will Warren is actually your highest currently projected roster starter pitcher. You've kind of been telling us for a while now, elite strikeout upside for Will Warren, DraftKings strikeout upside kind of reigns supreme. He started to even be a bit more under control as he gets sort of the reps and innings underneath him. And now you think we might just start to be seeing like the explosion of what could be a pretty big sort of rest of season out of Will Warren here. Do you buy 30+% ownership though today against the Rangers?
I would have said, like, if Gavin Williams was still on the slate, I would have probably said no. Because I think there would have been a viable pivot to Gavin Williams, right? Like, you could have just been like, well, if Gavin Williams has control today, why isn't he a better pitcher than Will Warren?
Right.
At this price range, I don't feel that way about basically anybody. So it really comes down to, if you're not spending down to Will Warren, is there anyone else you're comfortable with? I am not, personally. Now, that doesn't mean I wouldn't. I think it depends on what we find out. I just saw in real time, a massive Hayden Birdsong spike.
Okay.
So I've been kind of waiting all day to see if we were going to get any type of data on what he's going to pitch. I have not seen anything yet.
Yeah, the early projections that the ownership had on him was less than 5 innings. So I think that's why it was keeping maybe the initial ownership down on him. It's still in that same range though. So this could just be purely
punt.
Because now, as you mentioned, with the adjustment, and I guess that only would make sense here, that Tarek Skubal ownership has gone up. In order for Skubal's ownership to go up on DraftKings, you need 2 pitchers.
Correct.
it would make sense that Hayden Birdsong ownership would also go up because you're just pairing those two together today.
Yeah, and like the thing with Birdsong is that we've talked about since last year. He didn't throw strikes. He was great in the spring. He's been fine. I think he's still probably walking too many batters out of the bullpen, but like super solid strikeout arm, big time strikeout arm, can rack up strikeouts. We talked about it last night. 65 pitches. He's been solely out of the bullpen for a month and a half because that's where they wanted him. They decided enough was enough with Jordan Hicks. You're a bullpen arm now. And what will Birdsong's pitch count be? You and I said last night, I think both of us were in that like 75 to 80 range.
Yeah. Which is enough to get you 5 innings for a win. So like, and now he can't run into any trouble whatsoever.
None.
But the way he has pitched against easier opponents this year, he's been lights out. He ran into trouble, as you can see on the screen there, against the Cubs and against the Diamondbacks. A lot of teams, a lot of pitchers can say they've ran into trouble in those matchups here this year. The Royals, outside of not striking out, they're not striking out, but they are like dead last essentially in the majority of offensive categories here. So, if Birdsong in his home ballpark can at least pitch efficiently, then 5 innings is certainly doable, which puts him in line for the win, but just increases his overall upside.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. It's for sure something worth just thinking through.
I wish this was a better strikeout matchup for him, just because they'd be like that chance. Oh, well, he went 4 innings, but he had 8 strikeouts, so we're okay.
Yeah.
This doesn't feel like that's in the cards, but
no.
He is also not a $6,300 pitcher when fully stretched out here either. Like, he's a pretty talented guy.
Very talented guy.
We have a Brandon Walter question. I assumed we would have gotten to this as we talked about it on the preview show as well. It's actually not a terrible spot. It's not a great ballpark, but it's not a terrible. Tampa Bay versus lefties are pretty bad. It's that Brandon Walter has never really been a good major league starting pitcher. He had the limited outing in Boston a few years back. But even at the minor league level, really with the exception of this season, has not been a good pitcher. So, I would rather take my chances on the talent of Hayden Birdsong than the matchup of Brandon Walter today.
We've talked about that thing specifically, and I'm happy you brought it up. Sometimes you just go with the talent, right? Like, I remember saying that about Max Meyer on like a slate earlier this year. I'm like, these pitchers are not good. I'm just going to play the talent, right?
Yeah, and he had 7 innings of 14 strikeouts.
And it's not like, and I'm not like, that wasn't me trying to toot my own horn, but I think like that's just an example of like, I can play this pitcher who has not had any success, and yes, this matchup is great, but like it's 90 degrees. It's a bad ballpark. He had a 6 ERA in his 9 outings at the major league level with the Red Sox. Or I could play this one dude who misses a lot of bats and maybe doesn't throw as many pitches, but who's to say he doesn't throw as many pitches? Is Walter guaranteed to throw 100 pitches tonight? I don't love the Walter play. Like, I see through you're absolutely correct saying like the matchup is great, and I understand the appeal to it. It's just not my if I'm in this range, I'm just simply taking a shot on Birdsong, and that's it in that range specifically.
Yeah. I agree with you here. I do find it funny. I just Googled Hayden Birdsong just to get to like his baseball reference page, and the image they use of him on Google is him throwing a football. So
hell yeah.
All right. We kind of jumped obviously down to Warren and then Birdsong with the ownership. We talked Cease. Was there anybody else that you would consider here? Obviously Hoagland at 85 has an Angels matchup, which has been appealing for a lot of this year. Lorenzen has had moments. The Giants are better. Inconsistent inconsistent this season. You talked about Fetty outperforming all of his metrics every start. Is there another pitcher that you would consider?
It would be Gunnar Hoglund. And it's a tournament just to get leverage. I don't like him as much. And to just clarify, like, I do not like him as much as I like Luzardo or Cease or Skubal or Warren. But in a tournament, he looks pretty good. He's had a lot of really, really bad batted ball luck. Misses a lot of bats as well. Keeps the ball on the ground. Has allowed home runs. Okay. Allowed home runs against the Dodgers. I will accept it. But I like the ground ball rate. And you talked about it. The Angels can do one thing. One thing. And that one thing could absolutely derail his start.
Yeah.
I am not saying this is like my favorite pitcher of the night. But other than that one thing, which is home runs, and just power, they're 5th in ISO against righties.
Yeah.
They're
really good at doing two things. Striking out.
Yes. You're right. Yes, you're right. You're right. Two things. Good at striking out, good at hitting home runs. To that point, 27% strikeout rate against righties. They are 22nd in OPS. They are 23rd in WOBA. They are 24th in WRC+. It only gets worse, right? But they're 5th in ISO.
In a ballpark.
But you have a pitcher that induces a lot of ground balls. So I think you could get away with Hoglund and be very happy with like 20+ fantasy points tonight. Again, I think Cease, I think Luzardo, I think Skubal, I think Warren, all 4 of those guys. That's like my pitching core tonight. We didn't really mention Yamamoto, but he's an elite pitcher. You can always throw Yamamoto. But I think Hoglund would probably be the other guy for me. And then if you're spending down, if you have to spend down, it's Hayden Birdsong for me.
Okay. Is this an opener? Yeah, we got an opener.
Yeah, Casey Lawrence, who is like signed, who has no strikeout appeal whatsoever, is going to be their lineman.
All right. Catcher, then we go. Obviously, some top plays up top. We now have cores to consider. We have Sutter Health and Tampa Bay for ballparks. Some really bad pitchers on this slate. Antonio Senzatella being one of them, obviously. We have Adrian Hauser as an opener, I guess, for the White Sox. Or is he pitching for them tonight?
He wasn't, and now he is. So I can't wait. Bryce Wilson is supposed to be their pitcher. So they also made a lineup change. Luis Roberts talking to the media, telling the media that no one's going to trade for me because I suck. So the White Sox are in peak form right now. They're pitching Adrian Hauser. No one even knew he was on the team.
I was as confused as you were when to see Hauser's name here.
It's been Bryce Wilson all day until they released it an hour ago. So there's been nothing. You know what's funny? When I was looking at that earlier, the Rangers are the team that Adrian Hauser is listed on DraftKings. Riddle me that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if he was even in their minor league system. Had to have been, right?
Adrian Hauser agreed
He was actually on the Rangers minor league system this year, made 9 starts and had a 5 ERA at AAA. So he must have just gotten waived, then claimed, then pitching today.
He signed a 1 year, literally 1 hour ago.
Okay.
Signed a 1 year, $1.3 million deal.
And they're just throwing him out there. They're like, "You're on the mound tonight, bro."
And now you're on the mound.
All right. Cal Raleigh's $5,400. That feels like a big spend, obviously, on this slate, but Raleigh certainly can do the damage.
Will Venable on Adrian Hauser.
Okay.
Excited to insert him into the rotation.
I mean,
obviously, he's starting tonight. His stuff has ticked up this year. He's going to put the ball on the ground against righties and got some different ways to get lefties out.
He had a 5 ERA.
Okay.
He allowed 22 runs in 39 innings and 8 appearances. Now, it was the PCL, but no one has ever said anything good about Adrian Hauser. So, all right. Anyways, Raleigh's there. Real Muto, Will Smith up top. Ivan Herrera is hitting 460. So you think he gets off school, you can. Hunter Goodman's in that spot. William Contreras gets Cody Aiken. We had a Hoppy Bomb comment in the chat, or Langoliers rather. What do we think happens at catcher here?
Yeah, I mean, Rowley, looking at some Hauser stuff this year, lefties have had no success against him in the minors. Take that for what it's worth. Righties have had more success. It's obviously, you said it. It's like 9 games, 140 at bats. This is not like any type of sample, but righties have had more success against Adrian Hauser. I like Raleigh. JT Realmuto is actually the best player for the Phillies in terms of OPS against right-handed pitching this year, which I found surprising. They have not been good against righties. JT Realmuto has. So Realmuto stands out. Raleigh stands out. Definitely would play Goodman if you're not playing Luzardo. Guys, he's, legit hitter. Almost hitting 300, almost has an 850 OPS this year. Warren comments of the Langoliers bomb. I actually made him and Brent Rooker cover boys on the MLB DFS playbook you can find at fantasyalarm.com. Righties are what Kyle Hendricks fears the most this year. So I think Langoliers is the guy for me. Righties over nearly 2.5 home runs per 9, 234 ISO, 363 expected WOBA against Kyle Hendricks this year. It's just 8% swinging strike rate. There's nothing to like about Hendricks, so it's really Langoliers for me.
Okay. Working our way down. Obviously, there's always value that we can look to get to here today. Do you have a favorite core value play? Do we just finally plug Caratini into our lineup here at $2,900?
I mean, I wouldn't say plug because I think Langoliers is one of my favorite plays of the day. But if you're spending down,
Caratini, you get a $1,000 discount, obviously. On the
Caratini, Jansen, one of the catchers in that game. Yeah. I think Jansen looks pretty good as well.
Anything else?
Nothing else really worth talking about.
All right. First base then. Again, large slate, plenty of options, plenty of guys in great spots here. Give us a couple of the ones you're looking to spend up on today.
I like any of the top 3. I think they all look great. You could play Torkelson. I'm not an Eric Fetty believer. I think Goldschmidt looks amazing. 450 ISO against lefties this year, 666. WOBA for Goldschmidt. I think Goldschmidt's probably my favorite first baseman of the day.
Yeah, the price on him leading off in Yankee Stadium against Corbin is pretty good.
Great. Yandy at 38 looks pretty good.
I would say good on Tampa Bay for actually playing Jonathan Aranda versus a lefty today.
Yeah. Our good friend Mark said to us yesterday in a chat, he said, the Rays didn't start Aranda and then pinch hit him against the lefty anyway.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, what are we doing? Just play him. Like at that point, why?
I agree.
But I think Yandy at 38 looks fine. Christian Walker's getting ownership. People are just going to play that game. And Littell gives up home runs. So, I understand it. Not starting Bryce Wilson sucks because I really wanted to play Rowdy today.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to play Mariners in general.
So now you're worried about the Hauser lefty out ability? Is that what we're doing?
Not really. Bryce Wilson was just that bad.
Sure.
Way worse. And there's a reason why he's not starting. Not major league caliber.
Yeah. A guy that they signed an hour ago is getting the ball over him. So.
That is all you need to know, right? Where was Adrian Hauser? When he got the call. Obviously, he knew ahead of time, but they officially signed him 1 hour ago. So, yeah, I'm still good with
I'm
Rowdy.
trying to see when Adrian Hauser's last MILB start was. And just see like, was it this week? Is he like on his 5 days? You know, like and it was just kind of lined up for him here. Was he released a while ago? Let's see, his last start. It's probably not even going to tell me. Yeah, it's not even going to tell me because he's not on the team anymore. Game logs. Here we go. May 14th. He's in rotation. He threw 8 2/3 of shutout baseball against Oklahoma City.
Hell yeah, brother. Just saw something, by the way. This has no relevance. But there will be a MLB NBA crossover tonight.
Okay.
With Jamal Crawford and Dexter Fowler on MLB Tonight. They're calling it the crossover.
Whatever they got to do.
I like it. Sure. I don't know if Jamal Crawford knows ball, but that'd be cool.
We'll find out. Anything else then, I guess?
No, it's Rowdy. We'll talk LeMahieu at second.
All right. Second base then. Catel's up at top. Stott up there as well. Polanco versus Hauser now. Again, $5,100. Gleiber, Moore, Donovan. My boy Edmundo does one thing well.
He homered.
4 for 5, 2 runs, a homer last night.
Hilarious.
You're not going to be in the lineup tonight. But
I think Anthony asked us that earlier. I think he asked if they was going to be in the lineup.
Sosa, he will not. Anthony, he plays against lefties. So,
yeah, they really hate him.
Well, he can't hit righties. So,
yeah, but they told us, they were like, Rob Thompson was like, "Gotta play him. He's doing great," and then never played him.
Yeah. Is it just Jackson Holiday here or LeMahieu? Like, did you find yourself going anywhere else at second for today?
Yeah, Polanco when it wasn't Adrian Hauser.
Sure.
But that's it. Stott. You could play it if you can afford Bryce Stott. But that's like, this is not like a great position.
Like, I feel like Jackson, I mean, we know how talented this kid can be. They move him to the leadoff spot. He is being awesome. I'll have full confidence in him at just running him out there at $3,600 every day. We'll see if Kim's in the lineup or not. Said he'll play 3 to 5 times a week. $3,100. And then DJ LeMahieu is sitting 7th tonight.
Yeah, and like it's just like that's just like a nice value play in a good lineup. That really fits the build. So
Warren says Urias.
Yeah, righties against Kyle Hendricks look really good.
A little power, obviously the ballpark plays. Kim from the Dodgers again. Yeah, again, if he's in the lineup, I get it. He went 0 for 4. That's okay. Like, I'll run it right back to him. He's got Ohtani and Mookie Betts hitting behind him and Ryan Nelson on the mound today. So if Kim is in the lineup, if Dalton Rushing is in the lineup, again, could be a Dalton Rushing day today. Would play him at $2,900 a catcher too. Kim here at $3,100. Totally okay getting to that. Third base. Where do you find? Is this a Bohm spot for you, or what did you look to go today?
Another position I just not like too fond of. Nothing really at the top for me that I have interest in. If you want to play Yohan Moncada against Hoglund, you can. Caminero, obviously, we're playing him for a home run. Bohm looks fine. You know, the Phillies weren't paying off until they were yesterday, and they did everything in late, right? So definitely could play Bohm. He's cheap exposure to that game. McKinstry hitting third, I think, looks really good. I didn't write him up today, but I labeled Kerry Carpenter and Riley Green as the Tiger Kings because they've been so good. But McKinstry hitting basically in between them looks great as well. So you could play a 3-man. We've talked extensively how lucky Eric Fetty's been. Paredes looks great. Paredes has been a hit machine lately. Really good ballpark. Back to hitting second again, like he did last night. If Andujar is in the lineup, I would play Miguel Andujar. He's done nothing but hit for The Athletics, $3,500. He's day to day. That would be the only concern, but it's just rib soreness. So if Andujar plays, that would probably be another guy I'd go to. But there's really nothing else that piques my interest at all.
Okay. Shortstop. We go again. Obviously up at the top, plenty of money to spend. Turner, Witt, Betts, Nato's there. Gunnar Henderson's $4,700. Josh Smith is leading off as a lefty in Yankee Stadium today. Volpe's hitting fifth. Again, really no wrong answer, right? Jacob Wilson at 41. Jeremy Pena at 4K. We've just kind of spent down at the other positions where we're going to have money, I think, to spend up at short and outfield. Where do you find yourself looking to go?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different directions. Like you mentioned, none of those top options are wrong answers. If you want to go Turner, Witt, Betts, we know, and you know especially well, that Antonio Senzatella is, what he is. He's not great. So if you want to play Trey Turner, wouldn't surprise anyone if he had 4 hits. Bobby Witt, and Mookie double donged last night. We've talked about like how things are turned around for Mookie Betts for a couple weeks now. Would play any of them. Would play Nato if you're stacking against Hoagland. Would play Gunnar. He's obviously just too cheap at 4,700. Volpe looks great against left-handed pitching specifically. It's really the only thing he does damage against, but he is good against lefties. Don't want to play him, but just shouting out Geraldo Perdomo homered again yesterday, just throwing it out there. He is
future 2025 All-Star.
Oh, dude, it's like just put it in writing now. Yeah, Jacob Wilson looks awesome. I don't know if you saw his first inning yesterday, but he walked and stole a base in the first inning. I mean, this guy is just
hitting
everything,
second,
hitting second. Everything you could have asked for, Jacob Wilson is, and more.
He's so good. He might win Rookie of the Year. Honestly, he might actually win it. So
yeah, I mean, righties against Kyle Hendricks are absolutely nails. So love Wilson there. You can play Pena. He had 3 hits yesterday in the leadoff spot. Then like Farmer and Wynn and Crawford and Caballero, that like tier right there. That.
Wynn obviously has Scooble, but
like that, just that range, like they're all fine.
Caballero to me is definitely an elite play here, I think.
Yeah, he's just 20%. So like if you're looking for leverage, I think there's clear leverage with Ezekiel Tovar out of everyone.
Sure.
We've talked about this a couple times. Like
I think Kim the Man put it in. He had 9 righties in the lineup for the Rockies today. So
yeah, like look, Ezekiel Tovar is we talked about this with him specifically the last couple slates. Like was a better player than what his numbers said before the injury. Like he hit 26 home runs or whatever last year.
Yeah.
Righties have an expected WOBA of 335 against Jesus Luzardo. And what's crazy about it is that the strikeout rate for Jesus Luzardo, he is a let me not misquote this. He is a 46.6% strikeout rate against lefties. That is crazy.
Yeah.
They have no lefties.
Yeah, none.
Because
they saw that number. And they're like, you know what? What's the point?
Data. Yeah. Follow data.
They read the Fangraphs page.
18.6% strikeout rate to righties, John.
Yeah.
That's a stark difference. Like,
and I think honestly, that's why Luzardo's strikeout number today is only at 5.5 for the prop, which would seem low for a guy with a 33%, whatever it is, strikeout rate. But it's not low when you look at the splits and realize that he doesn't have a 50% strikeout rate split in the lineup against him tonight. So,
and this is not a situation where he's in Philly, right? Like he has that number and those split discrepancies, and he's carrying that into Coors where his stuff might not play the same, right? So
this is still a team that has like a 28% strikeout rate.
Undoubtedly.
And even Tovar last year, his biggest problem was like the 35% strikeout rate. So
and I'm not by any means saying like I'm stacking against Luzardo. I can see a case to play like a couple of Rockies tonight.
Sure.
I can see the Goodman case, I can see the Beck case, and I can see the Tovar case, right? Like, I'm not saying you have to play all three of them together. I'm just saying I think that there's a case. Number one, Tovar is a $3,100 shortstop hitting second in cores, a guy who almost hit 30 home runs last year.
That's homer in back-to-back games.
Homer in back-to-back games. And when you look at taking in last year's data, he had a 200 ISO against lefties last year. Like, good number, good player, good price. If you're not playing Luzardo, I think there's a legitimate case for Ezequiel Tovar to be in your lineup.
Sure. Outfield, we go. Schwarber is $6,600. He was the fastest at 300 homers or fewest hits needed to get 300 homers, something like that.
Did you see the guy who caught the ball? Did you see the story on him?
I saw that he traded it for a bat.
He just got into baseball this year.
Good for him.
He's a Rockies fan.
He caught the 300 home run.
Yeah, but like more so that he just got into baseball this year and he became a Rockies fan. He had the choice.
Yeah. Well, if you live in the area, I mean, what are you supposed to do? You know?
Sure.
I once went to a baseball game with a group of friends and someone who also went to their first game ever, and they got the home run ball. I've gone to 1,000 of Red Sox games, and we were sitting like right next to the bullpen, and he got the ball. Never been to a game before. Did
you try to make a play?
Yeah, what happened was it hit to the left of us, bounced, and went right to him.
So he didn't. So this wasn't like he's making a play. He's just like he's fielding a ground ball.
Yeah,
he's not catching a fly, but like
right because it landed, hit a chair, bounced up, and then just like fell in his lap. Basically.
Yeah, look, I'm not gonna lie. Like if we're all together, I'm trying to make a play.
You're trying to make a play, yeah.
I'm making like even if you're 2 seats away from me, like
He had the aisle, so he had the easier.
Okay, well that's. Yeah.
But had never been to a Red Sox game before. He got the home run.
Yeah, that's good luck. That's pretty good luck.
Yeah. All right. So obviously you want to go spend up at the top. You can play any of these guys.
Yep.
To Ryan's point, there's a lot of good spots, and when we built lineups last night, we didn't really get into cores all that much. We actually stacked the Yankees. We played Judge and Goldschmidt in our lineup. So
yeah.
I have no problems there. Obviously, Ohtani continues just to be a monster. Homered again last night. Jackson Merrill, Bassett with his lefty struggles can certainly play some Jackson Merrill. Corbin Carroll's always great, even if you're worried about Yamamoto there. I have to just again emphasize that Antonio Senzatella gives up like 2+ hits per inning. So there's going to be plenty of opportunities for Phillies to score from both sides of the plate. His fastball, he throws 3 times as many fastballs as any other pitch, and they're hitting 378 off the fastball this year. I don't know. Phillies are going to get hits and have opportunities to score runs today.
Yeah. So here's my only, and I shouldn't say it because like everything you said is correct. It's a catch-22. The Phillies are not good against righties this year. They have not been good against righties. I was looking at the data for the playbook. They only have 5 players with an OPS over 730.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying, 5 is fine, but like JT Realmuto is number 1 on their team, and he's hitting 230 this year.
Well, Marsh and Kepler have sucked. Obviously, those are 2 lefties in the outfield that have been bad all year long.
Castellanos doesn't hit righties. He only hits left-handed pitching. Bohm doesn't hit righties. He hits left-handed pitching. Like, and I'm not saying I wouldn't play Philly. I would.
We have a Philly lineup out right now. I'll tell you if anything here is different. Bohm is hitting 8th tonight.
Sheesh.
Realmuto hitting 7th. Stott, Turner, Harper, Schwarber, Castellanos, Kepler, Realmuto, Bohm, and Marsh. So bottom of the lineup there. They moved them guys all the way down the list to get, I guess, as many lefties ish in their top half as they can with
No,
Stott.
because righties. No, because this is their normal top half. They made that swap to Stott leadoff. This is like the new thing. But the righties have been as good against Senzatella as the lefties have.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The only difference here, the equalizer, is Antonio Senzatella.
Yeah, that's the
over 9, right? So like, if this was any other pitcher, even like any other, if this was like Ryan Feltner or something like that, you'd be like, oh, maybe like, as long as it wasn't like German Marquez, you'd almost like consider any other pitcher to be like, oh man, we should be worried about this, but
yeah,
we're not. The Senzatella is just that bad. They got 10 hits off Senzatella earlier this year, and as Mark said, the dude has a 1.99 whip. So, yeah, it's just difficult to not want to get your Phillies in there. But again, Yankees super appealing tonight. The A's Angels game appealing. You want to get some action there. We're not. You mentioned obviously like not being afraid of Detroit, but Eric Fetty has just kind of continued to limit damage against. So,
but how? How does that continue?
I don't know. Soft contact?
No.
I'm asking you. I don't know.
His ERA is 3.44. Expected ERA 4.93. Sierra is 5.38. 5.14 xFIP. His BABIP is 2.35. Yeah, I mean the batted ball stuff isn't great, but like 0.72 ISO, 156 expected ISO to lefties. I am not on the Eric Fetty continues to elevated fly ball rate. I am not on the Eric Fetty continues to pitch well. I'd rather play the Tiger side, either Riley Green, Kerry Carpenter. Okay. I don't want to just gloss past the A's stuff because I did cover boy the A's. I think they're one of my favorite stacks of the day.
I saw your Langoliers, was it Rooker?
Rooker. Yeah. Langoliers, Rooker. Brent Rooker has now become one of the most unlucky players in baseball, if not the most unlucky players in baseball. Everything says Brent Rooker should be awesome like he's been the last 2 years, except he hasn't been. But this is a spot that Brent Rooker can be awesome in with how poorly Kyle Hendricks has pitched against righties. 234 ISO, 245 expected ISO, 330 WOBA, 363 expected WOBA, 5.83 xFIP to lefties. You can do no wrong basically with anything athletics today. But again, just more righty numbers. 267 home runs per 9, 47% fly ball rate for Hendricks. Going into a minor league ballpark where you can't have those type of numbers against the Athletics who can hit home runs. So I really like Rooker. I would sprinkle in some Soderstrom up here as well. I would play some Butler at 42, Soderstrom 43. I would really not fault you for playing any Athletic that's in the lineup today. I would basically play any and all of them.
My only issue with the Athletics is their offense has kind of fallen off. Now a lot of road games certainly in the mix there. But the team that started off, putting up a lot of runs, they have kind of cooled off a little bit, but could be a spot certainly with Hendricks on the mound to get it back going. And I think it helps having Wilson back up at the leadoff spot.
Their lineup just came out, and it is not there? Jacob. He's hitting second.
Second again. Okay. But still good. Keep him in the top 3. Keep him up there.
And Andujar being in the lineup hitting 6th. I think it's just a really good lineup. The righties having the 4-5-6 righty with the Jacob Wilson hitting second righty. I really, really, really like this lineup I think that lineup looks great against Kyle Hendricks.
All right. So we have then obviously the A's that are there. Where else are you looking to go in this mid-range, I guess, then?
The Tigers. I was super bullish on like J-Rod or Rosarena.
Yeah. Now you just don't know what to do with Hauser.
Like, I'm fine with it. I mean, it's Adrian Hauser. He just signed with the White Sox. That was his only job offer, right? Like, he's been pitching for the Rangers and hasn't been able to pitch for them. So he he's finding a job with the White Sox. I'd still go there. I'm still fine with it. I just going up a little bit further, I would play Cody Bellinger, lefty. This is a guy who has hit lefties well this year and has also is in the middle of a 13-game hit streak, homers in back-to-back game. And Bellinger's looked incredible lately. So
Sure.
I would play him as well.
A nice pop-up grand slam the other day.
Yeah, pop-up grand slam, right. Right over Juan Soto's head. Talked Butler. We've talked enough Helio Ramos for everyone in the world.
Sure.
But he's actually hitting righties this year, which, hasn't been the case in years past. That's probably it over 4K.
Yeah, I mean, Altuve is 4K. Gavin Sheets is 39. Lourdes, 37. Even against Yamamoto, again, the Arizona Diamondbacks put some runs on the board against Yamamoto a few starts back.
Yep.
Myers against Littell. Again, if we're just kind of going against Littell, certainly Myers kind of getting hot, and the numbers are starting to come up. I mean, small sample size. That's what happens there. Taylor Ward, homered again. Someone in our chat, I think it was last night, said,
Can the
man, does Taylor Ward stay hot? He did.
He said it again today. He said he's too cheap, which I don't disagree with. I think Gunnar Hoglund's a good pitcher, but we've seen Taylor Ward do this like year in, year out, right? Goes on like these crazy stretches.
Yep. Anything else down here for value for you?
Yeah, I mean, you could play Caballero. You could play Caballero here. Cam Smith's been legit. You said it last night. It was a bit, and now it's like, oh right, this guy was traded for Kyle Tucker, and he's playing every day, and he's hitting.
He had 2 hits last night, a double, and RBI, and all of a sudden he made John's eBay rookie card list. So,
eBay rookie card. Oh, that's an extensive list.
We're on the, we're seeing it's only $35. Might as well. That's a little, get a little post hype here.
$35. That sounds like Matthew Lugo's strikeout rate. But if you want to play Matthew Lugo, hey, $2,700. He's been pretty good.
4 strikeouts and 4 at bats. You know what? That happens. We did call that out about Matthew Lugo when he got called up. And he had like a 40% strikeout rate at AAA this year. So
yep.
Isaac Collins is $2,600.
Proud of him.
We got Palacios hitting 3rd. Akil Baddoo keeps being in the lineup, man. $2,500 for him.
Happy for Akil Baddoo. Shout out to hopefully he could do something tonight, but I don't know if it's
Chaz McCormick also there. Again, I think Houston. I mean, we think Littell's pretty bad, so
yeah,
Houston.
It's a good ball. They're uncomfortably owned for me tonight.
Houston.
They're going to throw that out there. It's an uncomfortable ownership. They've been bad, right? Like I tried to sell myself on them last night, and like they were fine, and they've been fine. They're fine. They're going to be better.
They might be better.
They might be better.
$5,100 struggling to get Beck or Belly. What's the rest of your lineup look like, Warren? Are you leaning more Rockies or more Yankees?
I would say Bellinger default there. I think Corbin's been really bad against lefties, and also Bellinger's been really good against lefties. So sure. I actually think that he fits pretty good.
Yeah, I just want to know what his stacks were. Was he stacking Rockies or stacking Yankees?
Can I just say this stat, and I want to get your take on it?
Sure.
Aaron Judge has a 750 ISO against lefties. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it's high. It's super high.
750.
He's stacking A's and has his Goldie. So go 2-man. Go Belly Goldie as a 2-man and stack your A's. That's fine.
Yeah. Bellinger this year for lefties, Warren, if this makes you feel anything. 290 ISO, 459 WOBA against lefties.
Yeah.
It's good.
It is good. How many A's are you playing today, I guess is my question.
I would play a lot. I don't know. It doesn't really answer your question, but I would play a lot.
I think I'm building the lineup that you would probably build. So just stop me if I get there. If I get too close to it,
you're exactly there.
So just stop me if I get.
I've already built, and this is exactly the build.
Stop me if I'm getting too close to what your lineup build is here.
No, it's All right, you changed. There you go.
All right, there we go. There we go.
But until then, you were player for player. You're
It's pretty much player
you
for
matched
player.
my no, it was
Okay.
exactly player for player.
I'm gonna need to get some value in here somewhere. Let's see, because I guess our SB2. Did you get Scooble?
I did not.
So you played Hogland?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
I ceased the opportunity.
Oh yeah, Dylan Cease exists. $5,200. Full Yankees a stack with a one-off Caballero.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
We have officially full faded the Coors game
once again.
We've
done it again.
Well, let me ask you: would you rather Caballero? Would you rather Lourdes here? Myers versus Littell? Taylor Ward?
I would rather Caballero, but yeah, I'm okay with Ward. I would probably play Caballero if I was picking between that in that range, but
yeah. Warren, Cease, Langoliers. Wait, what did you say? You'd probably take who?
I would have probably played Caballero
over.
But I'm good with. I mean,
Ward's got the power, right? So.
Yeah.
All right, Warren, Cease, Langoliers, Goldschmidt, LeMahieu, Andujar, Wilson, Judge, Ward, and Rooker, giving us our Yankees a stack with the one-off Ward coming back in that game. Got any questions? Get us in that Discord. Playbook is out. Ownership's been updated. We'll update it again as we get closer to roster lock. Grant and I will be back for tomorrow. I think the preview show is going to be for the day slate, and we'll be back live for the main slate on Wednesday. So if you're looking for some day baseball on Wednesday, make sure you tune into that. We'll catch you later.